You spend a fortune running digital ads. You finally close a few hard-won deals, and for a moment, your monthly recurring revenue looks great. But by the end of the month, you realize you're barely treading water. That feeling of sinking right after a successful sales cycle is your monthly recurring revenue taking a direct hit. The new customers come in, but the old ones are slipping out the back door. This is churn. It's the percentage of customers who cancel their subscriptions within a given time frame. And unlike a catastrophic server crash that trips every alarm in your building, churn doesn't make a sound. When founders notice this quiet exodus, their first reflex is usually to double down on sales. They try to aggressively acquire enough new users to outrun the monthly cancellations. But acquiring users is exhausting. It takes time, heavy marketing budgets, and endless sales calls. Relying on acquisition to offset a broken retention system is incredibly expensive. If you ignore the exit door, you are actively funding a broken system. You're watching the revenue you fought so hard to win politely leave your bank account without saying a word. Fortunately, this silent threat is entirely quantifiable. We can measure the exact scope of the damage. This formula calculates churn rate. You divide the number of customers lost by your total customers at the start of the period, then multiply by 100. So starting with 1,000 users, if 50 cancel, the math gives a 5% churn rate. Curious, but what exactly is a good churn rate? The acceptable number shifts depending on your specific business model and your target market. High-touch B2B companies average monthly churn between 1 and 3%. Self-serve B2C platforms average 4 to 8%. Mapping this onto a medical scale, under 3% is a paper cut, 5 to 7% is a deep scrape, over 7% requires emergency triage. Still, obsessing over industry averages isn't very useful. It's far more actionable to track your own historical numbers and focus entirely on creating a consistent downward trend to establish a healthy baseline. When we dig into why those numbers spike, we find 4 distinct operational failures that consistently drive SaaS cancellations. Diagnosis number 1, bad onboarding. Users sign up, click around aimlessly because they don't know what to do, and immediately bounce. The treatment here is removing all sign-up friction. By dropping complicated steps and using a simple setup wizard, you guide users to their first experience of real value within the very first session. Diagnosis number 2, lack of engagement. This is a stickiness problem. Users create an account, but they fail to build a habit of returning to the product regularly. It's exactly like throwing a party and completely ignoring the guests once they walk through the door. Eventually, they leave. To fix this, set up time-based re-engagement emails that trigger after periods of inactivity, and build lightweight in-app communities to give users a reason to stay connected. Diagnosis number 3, poor customer support. You can spend months building user goodwill, only to destroy it with a single slow response or a 48-hour delay on a billing ticket. The solution is speed and proactivity. Deploy fast response ticketing, and if you see users constantly triggering errors, reach out to help them before they even submit a complaint. Finally, diagnosis number 4, pricing pressure. Often, cancellations have absolutely nothing to do with product flaws. They stem from budget cuts or highly restrictive pricing tiers. You solve pricing friction by offering flexible, clear tiers. If a user needs a calculator to estimate their monthly bill, simplify the structure immediately. These 4 issues represent specific, fixable operational leaks that can be patched one by one. Treating these 4 symptoms has a massive, undeniable impact on the economic reality of your business. You don't need a complete product overhaul to save the company. Improving your retention by 1 or 2% compounds into a significantly steeper revenue trajectory over time. This graph illustrates the compounding power of that minor improvement. The flat line shows a business with high ad spend and high churn, but this upward curving line shows what happens when you improve retention by 2%. Profitability skyrockets without spending another dime. To figure out which leak you need to patch today, start by deploying automated exit surveys to the users who are actively canceling. You compare that data with cohort analysis, a method of grouping users by demographics or sign-up dates to track exactly how long different types of customers actually stick with the product. There is a psychological barrier to asking people why they abandoned you. Their feedback will probably sting, but that direct, harsh honesty will save you months of blind guessing. Sustainable growth depends on fiercely protecting the customers you already have, making the sealed bucket a prerequisite to any attempt at scaling.